Well, hey, Billy,
Hi there.
all the way from Scotland.
Indeed.
You been keeping busy lately?
Yeah, I'm always busy. I've had a big project going on recently. I've got 5 books that I've been converting to music using AI.
Interesting.
So that's
Poetry, right?
taken the best part of a year.
Tell us about this geoengineering protest you just got back from in London that they held during the summer solstice. Was it the 26th of
It
June?
was on the 21st.
21st of June.
Yeah. But although initially, when I was interviewing Matt Landman, he did say I could go down there. Basically, I couldn't make it. So then in the second interview, I said I was thinking about it, but by that time he said he'd already filled up the speakers and there wasn't enough time for me to go down to do a talk. So I didn't actually attend that one.
Okay, I was misinformed. I knew that you were planning to go. But how do you think it went? We both followed it pretty closely on the news.
Yeah, I mean, I've done quite a few of the anti-geoengineering talks in Scotland because that group's been going for quite a while. And Matt Landman was there for one of them, but the meetings were taking place to do it Edinburgh and Glasgow, they alternate every month or so during the summer season. Really, only the winter few winter months they don't do it.
And what do you focus on when you speak on this?
Well, I've done about 5 or 6 of them, and although I've been aware of chemtrails for quite a while, when I started getting an invite to do a talk at them, because I've done various other talks at protest meetings, I done a bit more research into it. So I would spend 2 or 3 days delving into the topic and then writing a 8-minute poem about it. So I've went quite deeper into it so that I could try and rather than just ramble when
Yeah,
I'm doing a talk, have a specific thing to read. It can be quite
yeah.
hard for the people to pay attention to an 8-minute poem.
Mhm.
So some people listened, some prefer to talk or whatever, but it's okay. I mean, I was given information. The difficult thing is getting the people walking behind interested because ultimately that's who you're trying to wake up, not the same group talking to each other in an echo chamber every
I know
month.
what you mean. Yeah, for reals.
So there's another one I've just been invited to coming up in Edinburgh on July the 26th, and I'm going to go to that one. But again, I feel like just grabbing a mic and shouting at people walking past.
Do you ever get up to Cullen, Aberdeen area?
Not very often. I was there doing a comedy show about a year ago, but I don't get up that way very often. It's about 3.5 hour drive to get there from where I am.
Sure. Yeah, my parents are in Cullen right now. They have a summer home there. But how many people are in the Scotland anti-geoengineering community?
There's quite a lot in the actual group. There's a Facebook group called Anti-Geoengineering Scotland,
Mhm.
and I don't know, it must have maybe 3,000 members or something like that. It seemed to be quite a lot, but
Yeah.
I would say about 50 of them regularly turn up for the talks.
What kind of activities do you guys do as a group?
I'm not part of the committee, so I'm not heavily involved. I just come up and do my bit and do a bit of
Sure,
socializing, and then
sure.
that's
Well,
it.
we
But
we appreciate your activism. You were also really active during the lockdowns and the COVID circus.
yeah, it was indeed.
Kind of put
Basically,
you on the map in a lot of ways.
it did. I interviewed all kinds of people, nearly all the big hitters in the kind of no virus field. I started off with Don Lester and David Parker, who wrote the book "What Really Make You Ill," What Really Makes You Ill. And then from there, one led to another. I've done Andrew Kaufman, the guys that done Viral Delusion, the guy behind Virology. So yeah, there was nearly all of them. Even Tom Cowan, I done. There's one or two I maybe missed, but certainly I was banging on about that. And actually, I got ostracized from various groups. You know how at that time it was very divisive.
Mhm.
So I kind of was in the Scottish comedy world, but I've kind of been well ostracized from that. And part of the reason was because I was very vocal on calling out that utter bullshit. And I actually lost 2 jobs as well because I stood up against it. And I took the company who sacked me the first time. to court, and they kind of paid me off to shut me up and for it not to go any further. And the judge, it was a whole debacle. I was going to set a precedent, and didn't want that to happen. So the judge, I think, she actually prejudged it, saying, "Oh, there's lots of viruses," when I just had this pre-trial, and I was shaking my head, saying no, but I wasn't allowed to talk because it's all stitched up. You just see what a farce the whole justice system is.
For reals,
So,
bro. For
sorry?
reals.
Aye. So I
So
don't know what I could have thought the
were you able to
system.
get compensation? Were you able to get compensation?
I did get some, yeah, but the point was I had to pay a barrister off because I tried to do it myself
Mhm.
through just reading legal stuff, but I wasn't fully aware of what was going on. And eventually, through a friend, I found someone who was like a barrister, but on our side kind of thing. Although he wasn't that awake, but by the time I was finished with him, he was quite awake, and he was actually shocked of what was going on. So he was taken aback by the prejudice against me and the lies that these people will go to and how they'll try to shut me down. I've got basically, I'm in the project of finishing these books, converting them to music, and then I've got a whole story. I'm thinking about writing a shorter book about what happened there with regard to that whole story of getting the sack. And
Tell
also,
us about the books you're writing. Tell us
well,
about the books you're writing.
yeah, over the years I've done comedy and poetry, so I basically I've got three comedy books. One of them's a kind of crazy tales of a Scottish drunken idiot, and that's written in Scottish, so that's a humorous one. Then I've got two other ones. One's a kind of philosophical, very kind of poetic one called Duality or Love, and the other one's kind of tells stories called The Plain Facts. It kind of goes into conspiracy. So the three or four I wrote for the anti-Jew engineering talks, I squeezed them in at the end. So they're kind of go into a topic and tell a story. And then I've got two comedy ones. One's called Politically Corrected. It's kind of all my comedy material. And the one I've just released recently is called Sex, Drugs, and Marriage. It's kind of my life story from the age of 16 to about 42, where
What
lots
are
of
the
things.
highlights? What are the highlights in your life?
Oh, well, that book's pretty crazy. Basically, I tried to be a rock star, and obviously that didn't happen. But then I took lots of drugs, and my friend went mental, and I went to Amsterdam four times. I've been to Jamaica and Kenya, and then I got married to a Turkish lady, and then gave her LSD, and she went mental. So I was in and out of hospitals with her for quite a number of years, and then she got cancer just after we had our firstborn baby.
She went mental from taking LSD.
Yeah, 3 days later, she had a huge psychotic episode and went to hospital for 2 weeks, and then every year or so she'd have another one. So we
So
were in
do you think
bed.
LSD makes people crazy?
Well, I took a lot of it, and I'm all right. No, but,
Interesting, interesting.
no, but
Okay, so can you
it
share with
does
us
make
some of your
this. It's not a good
poetry?
thing. Sorry.
Can you share with us some of your poetry?
Okay, one of them's called Duality or Love. That's the title of one of the books. I wrote two poems actually the day after September the 11th, and the other one's called The Plain Facts, and that's the title of the other poetry book. Duality or Love goes, I am a deeply caring person, but I couldn't give a fuck about winning any competition because competitions suck. Rangers, Celtic, England, Scotland, who cares who is the best? We are all one consciousness, let's lay duality to rest. For I was born into a world where people think they're free, fighting with each other to climb an imaginary tree. Well, I can't take it anymore, I have to speak the truth. And if you don't believe me, you are the living proof. For when are we going to learn that peace cannot be won? It can only be withdrawn by a patriotic gun. For in this game of life, we are all God's chosen players, and love surely is the answer to all our secret prayers. Our destiny stands before us, alone and in great pain. We have a choice to make, my friends. Do we want the same again? For we create our future by how we choose to think. So why not evolve our minds so that we can escape our animalistic clink? For the world is just a reflection of what we're trying to hide, the chaos and the turmoil that's going on inside. So let's dig it up and have a look, then leave it all behind. There really is no other way to obtain some peace of mind. You will feel much better when you burn your football strip, although for some time after you may have an unstable bottom lip. In the end, it's for the best, for there only is one team, and that's humanity together in its collective conscious dream. I mean, wouldn't it be great to connect with one another without the barriers of division, religion, creed, or colour, where time was never an issue, so no work at 9 o'clock, realising in every moment that true love is all we've got. We fragmented soldiers could all unite together to investigate our mind. Awakened people would then be curious to see what they could find. Reality would be shaken to a deeper, more real depth, and we could all remember fondly the dream that we just left. That's that one.
I like it. I like it. Thank you, buddy, for sharing that with us.
No worries.
So, how can people follow your work and get in touch with your poetry?
Well, basically, right now, go to my website, it's billywatson.tv. I've got a membership site up in there, but I spend that much time working on stuff. I don't really promote it that much. And but right now you can sign up for free, and you can actually go to the books page, and there's links to buy the book, but there's also different playlists where I've got two versions of at least every poem in song. So there must be about 50 hours of music I've done on that page, and then yeah, you just sign up for the basic membership for free, and you'll get into all the stuff that's there. And if you like it, you can leave a donation.
Okay, Billy, before we let you go, could you share one more poem with us?
Oh, I'll do the other one, the plain facts. It's a little bit longer. Is that all right? Or
Yeah, that's fine.
okay. Um, the world has been changed forever. Of that we can be sure. Football, shopping, and the rest of our addictions suddenly seem so sore. Somebody please tell us what to think. Please tell us how to act, for we have no mind of our own to discern the lies from fact. Well, what do we need to do, Master Blair and Master Bush? You seem like decent people. Why don't you give us all the push? Do you need some more democracy? Would that take away our pain? How about a new world order? Would that make the world more sane? Just please, no more death and destruction. Well, unless of course it's in the name of revenge, for then we'd actively encourage you to bring the old world closer to its end. For we believe all that you say, we don't stop to question for a minute. So just do what you need to do to win. Just do what you planned at the last G8 summit. You are free to bomb the bastards. We don't need to see the proof. We are all like frightened rabbits, blinded by your distorted version of the truth. We can't see the wise alternative. Our ignorance keeps us locked in chains. It couldn't be our government that controlled those terror-stricken CGI planes. It's a long time since I've recited the CGI planes. Anyway, go and check out the rest of it on
Thank
my
you,
site.
Billy. I like it. I like how it has political messages.
Yeah, that one kind of goes halfway through. I kind of lost the line there, and but then I turn it around, and the second half of it's positive to try and give people some. Because I'd actually performed it 3 days after September the 11th. I performed that, and then it was a kind of heavy ending. I could bring it up, but anyway,
How
it had a
long?
heavy ending, and the crowd were like, first of all, it was like tumbleweed, and like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And
How
I
long
really,
did it take you after September 11th to realize it was an inside job?
well, that's what I'm saying. I knew it when it happened, it was an inside job. So the next day, I wrote that poem. And then 2 days after that, I performed it live where everyone was thinking it was Osama bin Laden, etc. And I recited that first half, and like it was tumbleweed, people were like, this guy's insane. But then I realized it was a kind of heavy ending. So the second half of it goes, so let's turn the snooker tables back around. Oh, I can't remember exactly. You'd have to look at it on my website.
Okay, we encourage everybody to go to your website, billywatson.tv.
Yeah, so it's like Billy Watson TV. Billy
Billy Watson
Watson
TV.
dot TV.
BillyWatsonTV.tv.
No, Billy Watson dot TV. So instead of .com, it's dot TV.
.tv. BillyWatson.tv. Thank you,
Yeah.
Billy. Thank you for your activism. We appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. Have a good
You
day.
bet.
Cheers.
Cheers.